Monstervision, and then later on we'll have the Wes Craven horror classic, People Under the Stairs. It's that Norwegian part that I don't get. He's a demented scientist from Norway. They don't have demented scientists, do they? Igor, tonight we descend into the fjord. Ha 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 ha. Doesn't work.
See Monstervision host Joe Bob Briggs next on TNT.
I'm Joe Bob Briggs, and you know what? I've already forgotten what toys I got yesterday. Oh. Haven't y'all? You know, but that doesn't matter because tonight we have back-to-back Brian De Palma and Wes Craven. Nothing like John Lithgow with multiple personalities to give you the willies in Raising Cain, followed by the socially redeeming child abuse classic, People Under the Stairs. Of course, if any psychics are watching, they already know that, don't they? I got this thing about psychics. What is it about the holidays that gets those psychic hotlines humming? Everywhere I go, I meet these psychic people. Psychics to the left of me, psychics to the right of me. And the ones who aren't psychic pay psychics to tell them psychic stuff. I'm not psychic. I know this. I'm wrong about the weather. I'm wrong about my career. I'm always wrong about relationships. All the stuff that psychics talk about, I'm wrong about. If a message suddenly came into my brain saying, you will meet a mysterious woman named Rhonda 2 weeks from Thursday, and she'll give you $100, I would know that I ate too much chili at lunch. I don't even know when the car payment will be due. And it's due on the same day every month. But this friend of mine, she refuses to go to California this month because her psychic told her a major disaster is about to happen out there. Have this other friend, she goes to a psychic so that the psychic will say, you are seeing two men and you can't decide which one is right for you. And she tells me this and I say, so what good is that information? And she says, it's true. What the psychic said is true. I am seeing two men and I can't decide. And I say, so what are you going to do? And she says, I can't decide. I say, so you went to get information from a psychic that you already knew before you went in there. And she says, no, you don't understand. It was independent spiritual verification of what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure about. And I say, and you're still not sure about it. And she says, I know, but now I feel it's okay not to be sure about it. Well, maybe I should go see a psychic and say, hey, how many arms and legs do you think I have? Don't peek. And then if the psychic gets the right answer, I'll feel better. One time I was at this party, and I happened to sit next to this famous psychic, one of these women who writes a column in the newspaper, and I asked her, what if you have a client come in and you get these psychic brainwaves that say, this person is about to die a horrible, grisly death. And the person is sitting there in front of you and he grins and he says, so, Miss Famous Psychic, what's in my future? And the psychic says, well, there's always something positive to say to everyone. And I said, okay, what if the person is already dying of some rare disease and they come to you to see how long they have to live? What do you say? Avoid long-term investments? What do you tell them? He says, well, we would talk about the best times to do certain things. For example, there are better days than others to have chemotherapy. I would have to look at the person's chart. But I wouldn't give up on this. I said, all right, what if all the charts and all the psychic brainwaves and everything said, disaster, this person is going to suffer and be miserable and then die. I mean, it must have happened once in the whole history of psychic phenomena. And she says, well, I would never tell someone they were going to die. And I said, even if it was likely? I said, no, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. Well, you know what? If I'm paying a psychic $100 a pop to tell me my future and I'm going to get flattened by a Mack truck when I walk out the door, she better tell me, gosh darn it. And speaking of people who are hiding things, it's time for the great and underappreciated Raising Cain. I like this movie. John Lithgow goes multiple personality on us as he kidnaps his friend's kids so his even more psycho daddy can put them in a cage and study them. Also featuring the lovely Lolita Davidovich as the cheating wife who walks around smiling a lot. So we'll do those drive-in totals at the next break, but check it out and we'll be here with you, keeping all the John Lithgows straight. And by the way, why do psychics give out their 900 numbers on TV? They're so dang psychic, they can call me when I need them, all right? Yeah. Makes me want to call them up and say, okay, who am I? You know, my philosophy of viewer mail, who needs the heartache? Get rid of it.
Unfortunately, TNT insists that you continue to pummel me with your incredibly diverse and somewhat frightening opinions. There are two ways to do this. You can write to us at Monstervision, care of TNT Programming, 1010 Techwood Drive, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318. Or you can use the ways of the truly disturbed. You can email us at monstervision@turner.com. I thank you, Ted Turner thanks you, and Bill Gates thanks you.
Visit the Monstervision website at tnt.turner.com/Monstervision. Back to Monstervision host Joe Bob Briggs and Raising Cain on TNT.
So we've got John Lithgow in 3 roles so far. Carter, who has some really bad allergies. Ooh. Cain, the evil twin brother who thinks he's Fonzie. And Dr. Nix, the father who kept at least one of them in a specially designed infant environment. Ugh. Brian De Palma obviously did some research on B.F. Skinner for this flick, who we will now cover in a quick 60-second or less Psych 101 lesson, all right? Real name, Burrus Frederick Skinner, a big Harvard shrink who developed what came to be known as the Skinner box, which was a rat in a box doing a simple task like pressing a lever to get a piece of rat food. Now, you know how Pavlov rang a bell while he fed his dog so they'd associate the bell with the food and start drooling whenever he rang it? Well, that's called reflective behavior conditioning because it involved natural reflexes. Well, Skinner called his conditioning operant conditioning because it involved operant things or opera. He'd play Pavarotti whenever he fed his rats, and the rats would drool. I don't know. No, that's not right. It's something about positive and negative reinforcement. So anyhow, in the 1940s, he built a crib-sized, air-conditioned, soundproof box for his naked baby daughter to hang out in, with a sliding window made of safety glass and mobiles and stuff hanging down in there. And then some companies tried to produce and market this baby box. But even though it was really just a fancy crib, people kept getting it confused with the Skinner box, which, as we've learned, was the little box with the rat and the lever in it. So they had a little bit of marketing resistance. For some reason, people didn't like the idea of sticking their babies in a rat box with a food lever on it. If they'd gone with the program, we might have a better class of baby today. Okay, back to the movie. B.F. Skinner was brilliant. Oh, here's the drive-in totals, I forgot. 4 dead bodies, no breaths, 1 motor vehicle collision, wrist slashing, stabbing, pillow smothering, drowning, headbutting, booger spraying, gratuitous musical clocks, fright wigs, kung fu, chloroform foo, 3 stars. Okay, now roll it. B.F. Skinner's thing, that box for babies, though, it's sort of like IQ Zoo. If you've ever been there, that place in Hot Springs, Arkansas that has the basketball playing rabbit and the dancing chicken. Sometimes you'll see it at State Fair, too. The basketball playing rabbit knows that if it plays basketball, food will drop out of the little silver tray. So it's the same exact principle with babies. You could train your baby as an actual tourist attraction.
Hi, I'm Rusty, the Monstervision mail girl. It's not an easy job, especially when Joe Bob says something really annoying, and I have to deliver 20 times as many letters from Monstervision viewers. But don't worry, I work out 5 times a week to make sure I can handle anything you want to send my way. Come visit me at Monstervision website, tnt.turner.com/Monstervision, and I'll show you what I mean.
See Rusty deliver the Monstervision fan mail to Joe Bob Briggs every Saturday night on TNT. Back to Monstervision host Joe Bob Briggs and Raising Cain on TNT.
Lolita Davidovich playing the Angie Dickinson role from Dressed to Kill, the adulterous wife. She is cute, isn't she? She was supposed to become a big star after she did Blaze with Paul Newman 3 years before this, and she's worked quite a bit. I can't really say she's a star, but she's always right on the edge. Even though Richard Gere cheated on Sharon Stone for her in that movie Intersection, but I don't think anybody saw Intersection. So anyway, when Universal opened this movie, they had a screening for the critics, and during the screening, the critics started laughing. They were hooting the screen, and some of them walked out. So Universal rewrote the press kit to say that it was supposed to be funny. They said they forgot to mention that in the first press kit because they were so rushed to get it out. So in the first press kit, they called the film a romantic suspense thriller. But in the second press kit, they called it a departure from the traditional suspense thriller, a devilishly fun film which combines wry humor with shocks and thrills. We have the second press kit around here somewhere, and they use the phrase wry humor about 20 times in it. Okay, we got the funniest scene in the movie coming up right here, so let's roll the film. After that screening, by the way, all the journalists asked Brian De Palma and the producer, Gail Ann Hurd, and John Lithgow if the movie was supposed to be funny. And De Palma said yes, and Gail Ann Hurd said yes, but John Lithgow said no, because he'd been over in Italy, and he didn't know about the big hoo-ha. So, can you imagine being Universal Studios that day? Who forgot to tell Lithgow? But actually, I don't think it's funny. I did not think it was funny when I first saw it. And you know why? John Lithgow spraying snot all over that woman. You know, did I really see that on TNT, by the way? Snot spraying, I don't care in what context, is never funny. Maybe in second grade.
You know, there just aren't that many things that are scary anymore, are there? Fortunately, one of them is our Monstervision website, which is where we put the viewer mail we're too chicken to actually put on TV. Did you people have mothers that write this stuff? Good grief. You can also check out the weekly Playmate, provided your taste in centerfolds runs to scaly mutants and saber-toothed vixens. Just head on over to tnt.turner.com/Monstervision, and when you get there, do me a favor, okay? Keep it in the ballpark area of borderline psychotic. Don't go into that other zone, all right? We got kids logging on. Some of them are already mutating.
Visit the Monstervision website at tnt.turner.com/Monstervision. Back to Monstervision host Joe Bob Briggs and Raising Cain on TNT.
We didn't have any snot in that segment, did we? As long as there's no snot, I'm happy. A booger-free segment. Thank you, Brian De Palma. Okay, Gabrielle Carteris. Gabrielle Carteris as the slutty babysitter, better known as somebody on Beverly Hills 90210. Do y'all watch that show? Well, Gabrielle also tried to do a talk show a couple seasons ago. She was the 67th actor-turned-talk show host of that year. Seems to be a trend. You know why? They all read that magazine article that comes out every year saying that Oprah is the richest woman in the world or something like that. And they say, what? For doing that? She's the richest woman in the world? And they call up their agents and they start whining, I want a talk show. I want a talk show. Guess what, though? Talk show producers know how much Oprah gets for that show, so they don't make deals like that anymore, even if you do end up being really, really popular. Anyhow, I also want to mention the guy playing Jack, the always interesting Stephen Bauer of Scarface fame, among many other roles. Real name, Rocky Echevarria. The only guy in history to change his name from Rocky to Stephen. Used to be married to Melanie Griffith. Okay, back to the flick. Do we have nose mucus in this next segment? No? Okay. 2 consecutive mucus-free segments. Yep. Not to offend the 8-year-olds in the audience, because 8-year-olds love mucus. Booger. You know, thousands of 8-year-olds are laughing now because I said booger. Booger. Booger, booger, booger. They're dying. They're rolling on the floor. You guys have the minds of 8-year-olds. You can't go wrong with 8-year-olds when you say booger.
Back to Monstervision host Joe Bob Briggs and Raising Cain on TNT.
That was my impression of Lolita Davidovich as Jenny, face frozen in horror. This just might be the place where the laugh riot began, don't you think? Especially after Francis Sternhagen as the chemotherapy-wigged Dr. Waldheim explains about the father who stole 5 babies a few years back. They have this old guy come on, oh yes, only I would remember this. We had a guy steal 5 babies a few years ago. Old case, no one would remember now. Excuse me? I think if some guy stole 5 babies, it would be pretty much an instant miniseries, don't you? I don't think anybody would be saying, what? Now, what did he do? Who did that? Yeah, we missed that case. That's like having a character come into the movie and say, you're investigating O.J. Simpson? You know, I sort of remember something back in '95. Let's look at the file. Oh, yes, here it is. Some kind of domestic trouble. Anyway, Raising Cain was the movie Brian De Palma did after his big fiasco, Bonfire of the Vanities. Now, remember what a huge flop that thing was? De Palma got right through the coals on that one. There was a book written about it, The Devil's Candy, that made everyone involved look really bad. Because 10 years ago, a $50 million flop, that was a big deal. Today, 50 million, well, 50 million just doesn't buy what it used to, does it? And we know that at Monstervision. We watch every nickel here. If I go over budget on this show, I get a spanky. Ooh. Yes, we still have corporal punishment at TNT. It's barbaric, isn't it? Roll the film. Frances Sternhagen. What a babe. Cliff Clavin's mom from Cheers, the great stage actress Frances Sternhagen. Wonder if she has any nude photos on the internet like Dr. Laura, you know? Dr. Laura naked on the internet under the category of people you didn't think you ever wanted to see naked until somebody said, hey, she's naked on the internet. Then you got to see her, right? Okay, I'm done.
When you enter the Monstervision caption contest, don't just string a bunch of cuss words together and tell us that's funny. Only Jack Nicholson can do that. If you really want that Monstervision t-shirt, then impress me with your sincerity. Try something witty, or at least amusing. Don't make us snicker. Make us roar with unabashed delight. Go to tnt.turner.com/Monstervision and make the six-headed jury laugh and turn over a new leaf in your life, okay?
Play the Monster Caption Contest and win a free t-shirt at tnt.turner.com/Monstervision. Back to Monstervision host Joe Bob Briggs and Raising Cain on TNT.
Okay, while John Lithgow calls 1010-221 to try to get a get-out-of-jail-free card, actually, he'd probably better use 1-800-COLLECT from that jail. I think it's time for a little escape of our own as I consult with the High Priestess of Monstervision, the famous TNT Mail Girl, in the feature we call Joe Bob's Advice to the Hopeless. And hi, Rusty. You smell good.
I do?
Yeah, are you wearing a new perfume or something?
No, I don't have any perfume on.
Did you just take a shower?
This morning.
You went to the beauty parlor and had your hair done?
No, I didn't go to the beauty parlor, and it's called a hair salon nowadays.
What is it? It's making me giddy.
Why don't you read a letter?
No, I gotta figure out what this is. What'd you have for dinner?
You think I smell like food? That's flattering.
Come on, what'd you have?
I went out for barbecue with some friends.
You went to Shorty's?
Yes.
And you had the San Antonio-style pork ribs.
How'd you know that?
Yeah, girl, you shouldn't be walking around with that. You maybe, that's like wearing Victoria's Secret or something, which actually wouldn't be a bad idea for you to do anyway.
How about a letter? It's from Susan Odendahl of Atlanta, Georgia.
Shorty's, man, hadn't been there. Dear Joe Bob, I have only one complaint. That's how it always starts, isn't it? The other night, you made a comment about Steven Spielberg that disturbed me a bit. You said Poltergeist had the Spielberg glow and that it made you want to puke. As a Spielberg fan, I must protest. Sure, he made E.T., but he's done some dark stuff as well. Did Jaws have a glow? That was one of the greatest violent films of the 70s. I also loved his TV movie, Duel. I assume you would like it too. It was horrific and very well done. Jurassic Park alone should be enough to make him a hero of Monstervision viewers. Your friend, though we have never met, Susan Odendahl, Atlanta. Well, Susan, with the exception of Jurassic Park, we've shown all those movies on this show, and we love Steven Spielberg here at Monstervision. At least our crack programming department does, and I think Jaws did have a little twinkly glow to it, actually. It was probably the brightest horror flick ever made. And I'm not saying I don't like Spielberg. I just occasionally get sick of the suburban glow thing. He's not as bad as, you know, Merchant Ivory, those guys. You know those films, Rusty?
I don't think so.
Room with a View, Passage to India.
I love Room with a View.
Okay, we'll talk about glowing movies. Those things will blind you. They're so glowing. They put a light in every actor's mouth. That's how much those movies glow. Merchant Ivory, produced by Merchant, directed by Ivory, or is the opposite. Produced by Ivory, directed by Merchant. Actually, the real star of those movies is the writer. They're all written by this same woman, Ruth Power Jabvala. Why aren't they called Merchant Ivory Jabvala movies?
What are you talking about?
I love those pork ribs. Can I nuzzle your neck? Because
no, I gotta go. Oh, I mailed it. Ernie, can you help me with this, please?
What do you do? Ernie, you smell good, too.
What'd you have for dinner?
I love you.
All right, if you're going to write into us here at Monstervision and share your gripes, your opinions, whatever, and you're a woman under 140 pounds, single, and you don't have any strong opinions about any of the most common vices that men have, then I want you to use my home address because it's quicker. So just send those letters. What? I cleared this. I can do this. I'm telling you, we had a 3-hour meeting about this. It's not an attempt to get Nookie on TV. Well, you don't have to use that word. Look. All right, look, I'm going to have to get back to you later. But meanwhile, just keep writing to us at 1010 Techwood Drive, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318, and emailing us at monstervision@turner.com. I like Superfly. What are you saying about Superfly? Why do you use that word? What's the implication there?
Visit the Monstervision website at tnt.turner.com/Monstervision. Back to Monstervision host Joe Bob Briggs and Raising Cain on TNT.
Is it my imagination, or does John Lithgow end up in drag at least once in every movie he makes? Is there some virus going around Hollywood that only affects directors and makes them say, you know who would look really good as a woman? That John Lithgow guy. You know what this movie is, though? All Brian De Palma's movies are homages, right? And this one is a homage to himself. First example, Dressed to Kill. Michael Cain played a transvestite shrink, and that movie is already an homage to Psycho, because in Psycho, there was also a body in a car that won't sink. All right? Like I said earlier, Angie Dickinson was the unfaithful wife in Dressed to Kill. Lolita Davidovich is the same thing here. And this movie gets even more like that in a minute. There was an aardvarking scene a little while ago that looked like Body Double. The whole movie sounds just like Carrie because it has the same composer, Pino Donaggio. You'll get a little reminder of the Untouchables here in a minute. And here's another homage. The producer, Gail Ann Hurd, who, by the way, was married to James Cameron and produced the Terminator movies and Aliens 2 through something, was married to Brian De Palma when this movie was made, and they have a daughter named Lolita. But you know what? I'm not even going to go there because it's time for the surreal conclusion of Raising Cain. Go. You know, even I would look better in drag than John Lithgow. Give me a dress, a little rouge, I could beat that guy in any beauty contest. Of course, if he can tap dance, I'm in trouble. I never did learn to tap dance. But if we were going to lap dance, Lithgow versus Briggs, baby dolls topless.
Stay tuned for more Joe Bob Briggs on Joe Bob's Last Call, coming up next on TNT. And now, Joe Bob's Last Call and the people under the stairs on TNT.
And John Lithgow becomes Roberta Muldoon, who he played in The World According to Garp. Did you catch the Untouchables motif? The baby carriage in peril? De Palma loves to throw babies around. Okay, I'm Joe Bob Briggs, and we have the people under the stairs up next. But first, I want to remind you that next week is Max Night. We'll be showing the wacky Stephen King directorial effort, and I do mean effort, Maximum Overdrive, where killer vending machines and such start taking people out. And we'll have the third Mad Max movie. You get it? Max Night? Yeah. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, starring Mel Gibson, who borrows John Lithgow's wig, and Tina Turner looking fine in Chainmail. Okay, time for a Wes Craven flick, and Wes is, of course, one of my favorite filmmakers for about 25 years now. He started out with Last House on the Left, one of the most brutal geek nightmares ever made. In the mid-'70s, he made my personal favorite, The Hills Have Eyes, great cannibal flick. Of course, the general public knows him best for the original Nightmare on Elm Street and his most recent flicks, Scream and Scream 2. But right now, we're going to watch one of Wes's films that has a very loyal following, The People Under the Stairs, starring Brandon Adams as the 13-year-old kid who goes to the house of his evil landlords and finds out they're keeping a little girl prisoner and there are zombie mutants living between the walls. And it's like every picture that Wes makes, you don't get very far into it and all of a sudden you can't tell where the reality leaves off and the nightmare begins, and you can't figure it out till the very last scene. So I won't say much about it for those who hadn't seen it before, but I will give you those drive-in totals. We have 6 dead bodies, 1 dead dog, multiple shotgun wounds, flesh carving, brick whacking, crotch socking, roof diving, fireplace poker placement, bayoneting, serious explosives, 3.5 stars. Okay, go. This movie also has humor in it, but I think it's more on purpose. It's not that unintentional humor. I shouldn't say anything, though. I should let you make up your own minds. This one's more goofy, though, than most of Wes's. Anyway, you'll see. I won't say anything else. It's quirky, is what I mean. I'll shut up. The humor on this show, of course, is always intentional. What humor? Who said that?